And here we go with our recording. And you can see my screen just fine?
I can see your screen just fine.
Okay, I am interested in what happens in the next 40 seconds here.
Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Okay. Got it. So that's fine. I mean, I don't really care because I look at that and go, you just made a mechanical mistake if you fell down and then you were in the wrong position and you were trying to salvage it. Not a big deal.
Well, I mean, I should have known to rotate the other direction, though. That's the thing.
Oh, yeah. Yes, of course you should have, but you were in the, I can't believe I messed that up. And yes, you absolutely should have rotated in the other direction to recover from that mistake, but I'm considering that the mistake snowball. Your team's not in this, though. Okay, if your team was to have any prayer of getting back in this, it was you going through here and immediately assassinating a support or a hit scan that happened to be right here, right? Like going here, which is the direction that they would be looking for you, expecting you, never had any chance of flipping the point, right? You were already coming back into a 3v6, but like the only way that you ever get back into this is you find an elimination. And This was not the way to do this. This was the better way to do this because, hey, it's possible they rotated up through here and they left their Mercy back here. They left their Anna back here, and you can get an instant delete. If you go in now this way, all you're playing for is some pulse bomb ult charge and maybe delaying the point, I don't know, 3-4 seconds.
Yeah.
So that's not really your play. Like delaying the point 3-4 seconds, okay, fine, versus a, I don't know, 5-10% chance of getting an elim that then turns into something more. Neither's great, but the other's a little bit better.
And that's where I got distracted by the.
Yeah,
I should have left it on. But I mean, either way.
Well, you should have gone for the Anna, but also, it's a Winston that took you down while you still had recall. Like, he's not a very fast elimination. Like, if we slow this down, just to highlight it. So, not a big deal. If you were going to go after Anna, you'd have had to go around this way, and the point's late, etc. But yeah, that would have been better. But here we are. I get it. We're trying to fight around this bubble. But you go down to Winston damage without having popped your recall, which is just a little disappointing. Not a big deal. Do you play much Tracer? Like, I know you're playing DPS a lot now. Is it all over the place? Is it Ashe? Is it Tracer? Like, what does your pool look like these days?
Well, that just happened. Aye.
Did I lose you?
No, I'm here. It's just your silence is deafening.
My silence is deafening?
Yeah.
Oh, you couldn't hear me? I was asking about what your hero pool was these days.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, no. I completely didn't hear that. My hero pool. It's mostly Hitscan, honestly. Like,
okay.
That's the strongest.
Totally fine.
I am currently.
Totally fine. Yeah, no. If I was.
Really... Oh, sorry. I was gonna say Hitscan. McCree is probably by far my strongest, followed closely by Ashe.
Okay.
Soldier. I dabble a little bit in Widow, but only when I can really abuse the map.
Sure.
Because my aim is not strong enough to play Widow on its own. And weirdly, I did get kind of decent with Junkrat only because my graphics card went kaput.
There you go.
A little bit ago, and so I could only play on like 60 FPS.
Okay.
So. My Junkrat got a lot better after that.
Like, I don't want to play Hitscan on 60 FPS after I've been doing 144. I get it.
Yeah.
No, okay. The only thing that you missed then, if my mic cut out, was I was talking about, hey, you went down to this Winston without popping your recall, and you aren't burst down by a Winston, so that shouldn't happen. But not a big deal.
Yeah.
So Hitscan, and now we're on the comfort pick. Okay. He's going to work just nicely in this comp. It's probably worth a roll. If you think about that one, hey, you are nanoed, it's worth getting your clip back, you know, rather than going through the reload there. Because that is much less worth a roll. So
It's even worth it rolling in because then I would have been way in front. Like that, I guess that was my concern. Was I was really scared of
sure,
getting bursted really fast.
we'll slow it down. So if you look at this, you've got one shot left. You take it at the Genji, you miss. Just literally roll into the side and you'll hit the wall. It's fine.
Oh.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh, I see.
Or you can roll this way if you want. It's not as good, but you just roll into the side and go, "Oh, I hit the wall and I'm fine." Like that's better than going through the reload animation while you have nano going here. Like roll isn't a fantastic cooldown, but the reason he has it is because McCree wants to maximize his uptime of, you know, putting out damage, etc.
I see.
And then you do a roll after you. And I get it. You went in for the flashbang. You're trying to roll out, etc. But
The higher value play would have been getting the shots in while Nano was up.
yep.
Okay, that makes sense.
I'm a little surprised on your target selection there. Let's just go over that again. So you're on Hanzo, you're still on Hanzo, you're still on Hanzo. You swap over to Winston. I'm guessing that's just because you can't see your Hanzo, the Hanzo through your Orisa. Is that what's going on here?
I think it's more that, if I'm recalling correctly, I think his shield is up. His shield uptime is up, so I don't want him to jump into my team and then put the shield down and then knock us back another, you know, like 10 meters in game or something.
So you're trying to poke him out to force his shield because he's
Yeah.
got such a weak poke phase.
Yeah, I wanna poke him out early. But yeah.
I disagree. I get it, but I disagree. I think you are better staying on the Hanzo here if you can track him, if you can take those shots. Like, this is a Winston. It's totally annoying if he jumps at you. He does have his bubble. You are correct that he has his bubble, but not his leap. But this is, you know, a mercy boosted Hanzo that's got a wider angle and is kind of threatening and is, you know, getting rid of your Orisa. This Winston is never going to remove your Orisa. Like, it's never going to happen. She can make life annoying for you three, but it's you three. Winston doesn't really want to deal with that. Like, your Lucio can boop him out as he tries to leap in. Your Ana can potentially hit that sleep. Poking out Winston's absolutely great, but you want to poke out Winston's while they're still trying to stage. This fight is happening. You know, like, both of these teams are pretty... You guys are trying to back out, but this team is pretty committed to this fight. And this Winston, whether he has his bubble or not, I mean, his next leap should be up here where he's going to do work, etc. But, like... This Hanzo is doing work. You're up against a Hanzo that's doing work versus a Winston that might start doing work. So like, stop the Hanzo.
Yeah. And he's the one I can actually kill.
Yes. It's fine. You didn't really have a better way out there.
It'll take more than that.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
You have the pick. I just don't know that I believe in your ability to get out here. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we'll go with it. To watch that deflect again. I think you had other target options.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
They're a little rough to go for your other things, but they're there. He's doing a good job of fox guarding. Okay.
Wait, what was that term? Fox guarding?
Well, he's fox guarding for his team there. I mean, fox guarding is what I said. It's not quite the right term, but he was doing a good job of sort of putting himself between the two people that you would have liked to shoot around him to get at while he was deflecting like that. He was putting himself in front of his team well. There wasn't someone over here like there is now that you could shoot at instead.
You're
That's
talking
what I was
about the
saying.
Genji.
Yes, I'm talking about the Genji. I did.
I've actually never heard that term before. What does fox guard mean? You mean
Oh, well, what does fox guarding mean? I mean, fox guarding is like, school children when you're playing games, etc. And it would be like, the person who's it is like just guarding the base or something like it. Sorry, just old old term, I guess. But it just means he's sitting there protecting his team. He's not he's not letting you have anywhere else that you could go do work with your shots. I didn't like the uptime lost from you not shooting during his whole deflect, but there weren't any other shots to take. That's all I was saying. You're fine.
Group up with me.
Make sure, I don't like the direction you went there. Doesn't cost you. You don't want to be the tip of your spear for the team pushing back in. Okay, you've got your Orisa there, but you're mighty close to the tip of your spear. Now you're on different angles. I can live with it. But this is a pretty wide swing. So where are you going from here? Like, what's your thought? Is the thought that you're going to go end up over here and do work from here?
honestly, the thought right now is to stay out of the Hanzo's line of sight,
Mm-hmm.
and then just keep it so that the only person I need to worry about or shoot at is the hog. So
Yeah.
the hog is my primary target here, and I'm just avoiding because right now I'm out of hook range, and I can I'm at max hook range, but I can
Yeah,
easily
you're
dodge
hookable.
it with roll.
Sure.
Yeah, but I can very easily roll dodge.
Yep.
And by closing the angle off on the Hanzo and on the Genji, I only have to worry about the hog.
Okay, that's fine. As long as you're effectively wandering to the left here so that you're not about to be caught in the open if they open the angle. Yeah, this is fine. That poor little fan, the one-shot fan.
Yeah, I know.
It's okay. McCree doesn't punish you as bad as Hog for not counting your bullets, but it can be a little punishing. So that was pretty brutal, this defense. Let's take another look at this to see if we can salvage this a little better. You have sound barrier, but not much of it. I don't really like you here, but that's okay. I don't think you get punished for it. You don't. Yeah. I mean, you reached a little for that flashbang there, and then he was able to get you, but it wasn't going to matter. Your team was effectively wiped regardless. Let's jump to offense here and see what we can do a little better, because unfortunately that was mostly a steamroll of your team never set up properly for a team fight after first point, which you contributed to a bit at the beginning of the snowball, but obviously there's a lot going on there.
Justice ain't gonna dispense itself.
Okay.
I bet you're a big fan of those old-fashioned cowboy movies.
Yeah, this was a game where we ended up winning, but I consider it pure luck.
Sure, sure.
Just because especially on our second defense, it was definitely luck.
Okay.
One. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Keep an eye on your health and caution if you need assistance. Behind you.
I need a doctor.
breaks that bubble. Let's go back.
Look like you've seen it go. Now, hold on.
Fine. Okay. Where is the rest of your team? Do they need this in any way? Not really. I suppose I can live with it. So what's this reload at 3 for here? Like, you definitely know where threats are, right? Like, oh, go ahead.
Oh, I honestly have no idea.
Okay, that's fine.
That one I have no idea. I
Okay,
don't
that's
recall
that's
that.
fine. That's totally fine. It's just something we're going to want to be aware of, because just because there's nothing on your screen doesn't mean there's nothing in line of sight at you. It just, means your screen's aimed in the wrong direction, etc. But we'll get to it. Oof, you reload and then you immediately roll. Yeah, so that's that's 9 wasted shots effectively. Yeah, so I was a little surprised you didn't fan it because you then went for the reload, or I'm just kind of like, surely you're going to break this bubble if you want to go for this reload, and then you go for the roll there.
Oh, actually, I think I remember why now. I think I was looking to okay.
Mhm.
When I was walking up the stairs, I didn't have roll up yet,
Mm-hmm.
but I did know the Genji dash past me, but he had a mercy pocket. So I think my idea was, all right, I'm gonna come up the stairs. I'm gonna flash the mercy as soon as I get to the corner. But instead, she just dropped over the edge, and I didn't want to drop over the edge.
Yeah, no, it's correct not to drop over the edge. Okay, let's re-see that for a second. Okay, so if that's your thought here, just, it's going to take you a full second to get around that corner to Mercy. So if that's your thought, rather than just going, hey, I'm just going to burn 3 shots here. So you take your shot here. You might as well, unless you think that Mercy's coming around the corner. If you think she's coming around the corner right this second, you don't want to reload. If you think she's staying there, you might as well fan your 3 shots into this bubble here. It's not going to change the timing for getting around there and then hitting that shot, which you then roll for. Like, these bubbles mess up your team pretty bad, and you can break them pretty fast, but that's fine.
Okay. So in that scenario, you think the play would have been breaking the bubble? Also, I have no idea where this mercy came from.
Right? How did she live long enough to get it? Like, that is pretty great. We can go check, but it's not super critical.
Yeah.
I actually think the play was to go, hey, I'm going to go up here, and maybe I'm going to rotate up here to get this Mercy, but I'm going to rotate up while shooting at the Genji from here, effectively. So this becomes as I'm going up here, I am trying to take my shots at the Genji, and then as soon as I can break this, now I have my roll, and I'll roll and turn and shoot at the Mercy. That would have been the optimal way to do it, but the easy mode way to do it was, okay, well, I want to reload anyway, so I'll fan into this bubble as I'm walking, and then I'll have my reload and be shooting at the Mercy. Does that?
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Much obliged. Thank you kindly.
Yeah, good luck getting out.
Form up here. Group up with me.
Oh, it's going to be beautiful.
It's high noon. Draw.
Good. Why? What? Why is your Mercy feeding? You get what rank is this?
This is a Plat game.
Okay.
But yeah, I think he saw the rest of his team crit, our team crit, and he wanted to go back. But yeah, definitely I was wondering why he didn't just come backwards towards me, because he could have easily lived there.
Easily. Like, this is 100%. She can still Guardian Angel to you quite easily. I just want to see how this plays out. She just didn't Guardian Angel past you. She didn't do, that's Mercy Mechanics 101. Maybe it was a fill player. I don't know. Okay, that's fine. I just am surprised that because you cleanly win this and you win this point if your Mercy doesn't go down there. You still are going to win this point, but...
So this is the point. From here on, like for the next offense, this is where I feel most
Escort
comfortable.
the
Probably.
Okay.
Um,
Hey,
We'll see what we can do to
Thanks.
shake your
Thank you
confidence
kindly.
and find things that are, everything that is wrong and make you go, but I thought I played okay. No, I'm kidding. That's part of what we'll do, but okay. You're sticking to the Genji more than you need to there. We can replay that sequence, but with Hitscan it gets pretty nitpicky and it gets pretty into target selection, but we are going to get into those things. So let's slow this down just a bit so that you see what I'm talking about. You're shooting at the Genji, that's 2 shots. For the second shot, the Mercy was available, totally understand. For the third shot, you pivot over to the Mercy. For the fourth shot, Genji is the only one available, but so that's fine. On the first and third shot, Genji was the only one available, and we're for giving the second one. I think you're shooting at the Mercy, but now
no,
you're tracking the
I'm
Genji
shooting at
again.
the,
Okay.
no, I know I'm shooting at the Genji. Like
Okay.
that one shot, the one shot earlier, yeah, you called it. That one I did try to switch to the Mercy, but
Mhm.
yeah, like the rest of these shots are all Genji.
Okay. So there's at least one more shot that should have been on the Mercy there, and it's not like a super big deal, etc. But this is the sort of thing where you're going, hey, those are pretty close together targets. Those are pretty easy flicks for you. It just becomes a which target do you want type thing, and it's probably not the Genji who has the Mercy attached to him, etc. It's a let me pressure the Mercy enough that maybe she feels like leaving, etc. Because I don't think you're going to get any help on this Genji. I don't think you're going to have a bunch of people shooting at the Genji with you that are going to burst her down through the Mercy healing. And sure, you could double tap him through the Mercy healing, but he's got cover available. He's got that Mercy healing. This becomes you do want to be making your swaps as they're available.
Oh, let's break it.
Yeah, and you're staying on the Genji there for 3 shots. 2 of those the Mercy was available for.
Damage in
I don't mind this because obviously the Genji is what's available.
And I'm also trying to stay away from the Widow's line of sight right now.
Totally respect that. I just don't think you were in any danger of the Widow's line of sight to shoot at the Mercy for the shots we called out there. But I totally
yeah,
agree.
yeah.
You don't want to expose yourself to the Widow like that.
Thank you kindly.
heroes never die.
You're gonna flash him. Yeah, there you go. Almost. That's fine. I mean, you went for the play, you hit half of the play, but then the fan was a little to the right, which that's just mechanics.
It ain't my time.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you kind of see what I was doing, right?
I can, yeah, no, I don't hate it. The reload is definitely the more important. The reload is the more important piece than the movement there, but you're putting yourself into a 1v3 situation. You're certainly not going to get punished for not having it, and you want to make sure the save happens. So no, I'm not objecting to it.
Helden sterben nicht.
I can't believe they pop Valk when it's
Form
like a
up here.
2v5 on the point.
Hey, we'll take it. We'll take it.
Fuck with me.
I don't love that you're trying to repush this, to be perfectly honest. So if you look at this, I mean, you can tell that your team isn't really threatening this angle yet. And when you just peeked this before, you could tell there was enough threat, danger here, etc., that you're peeking into poor numbers without an adequate balancing threat on the other side. So like you need your threat over here that's going, hey, this is a threat, so that at least by these guys paying attention to your peek into not the best numbers in the world, this flank is doing something. This flank isn't doing something yet, so you don't want to be opening this angle yet. Like your Reaper's not effective up here. Your Lucio, I mean, that's a Lucio. That's not serious help for you. And your Mercy, will pocket you, etc. But this is a allocation of resources where you're sort of going, hey, we're over here, we're pressing into this, but our other flank isn't ready yet. So it's a timing thing.
So
Go ahead.
I should be,
Group up with me.
I guess.
Group up with me.
I guess so. Like ideally, then right now, like obviously, one is like don't be pushing that corner right then and there. But I like better positioning is like if I park myself like right there, right where the banana was, right?
So this is fine because you don't know what's up here yet, and you're trying to push and see, hey, can I take this? But you pretty quickly get to a point where you go, hey, there's a Hog and a Genji and a Mercy up here. That's what you know, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know there's a Hog, a Genji, and a Mercy here, and you should know that your tanks are back here.
Yeah, my team's not there yet.
Your team's not here. So that's fine. If you could have taken this for free, absolutely take it. You can't take it for free, you just leave. And by leave, you can, okay, you take the shot, but then please leave, please leave. And this I'm okay with. This is what I object to. This right here. If you back up to here, that's fine, and you've actually got pretty good protection. If they round this corner into you, it's going to mean Genji's rounding this corner with just Mercy support type thing. Like, he's coming in, he's having to break into territory that you guys control and control well. You instead pushed back into him and did a, hey, I'm going to go do this. And that puts you in unrequired danger. Like if you're doing this, if you're pulling these eyeballs to you, etc., in a risky situation where too many of them are looking at you, it better be in exchange for the rest of your team getting to do work on this flank. And by the rest of your team, I just mean your tanks in this situation.
Right.
And you get punished for it, and that is the result of we'll play this through again real quick just to hone in the point, but so this is fine, but you see there's at least 3, and you actually do see the NS, so there's 4 here. You go for the reload. Your Reaper's setting up here to reinforce you, which is good, but this is just literally a no, just stay type thing. And this would be the same thing if you were playing, like, you were Widowmaker and your partner was Ashe, or you were, let's say, here as Ashe and you had a Zen over here, etc., where you go, hey, or like Junkertown, when you remember in the sniper metas where it would be like, hey, I'm over here, another sniper's over here, maybe Roadhog's here on Junkertown, stuff like that, and it becomes we're threatening from 3 different directions. Well, you're going, hey, I'm threatening, and they're going, cool, we will turn all of our resources to deal with your threat. And you're going, cool, I'm going to threaten again. No, there's no threat over here. It needs to be Widow peeks, that draws eyes, and now Hanzo can peek, and if they didn't match the Hanzo, your Hanzo wins. You don't want to peek into, as Widow plus Hanzo plus Hog, if your Hog is back here. Is sort of what that turns down to. Like, totally forgivable if your team's in position and can take advantage of it, but this is you just taking an unnecessary risk. You're forcing a fight. You're being the tip of the spear without the rest of your team being in a place to, stab them in the flank. I don't particularly love it. That high ground fight actually mattered a lot. But that works.
But stuff like that is like luck, right? Like
yeah, that's totally luck. Like that's what I was saying. I don't particularly like giving up this fight because this is the fight that actually matters for getting this point. And you guys wandered over here, and he happened to give you a free ult cancel. So yes, I agree. That was luck. You guys needed to keep forcing this effectively. Go ahead.
I do have a question though.
Sure.
So if you go back towards that staircase fight, not like the one where but like after,
Sure.
like yeah, from right here. If you play that, like I know that there's a scary widow
Mm-hmm.
on the other side. I know
Well,
that
thank you.
this Genji has shut me down. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
part of the reason why I'm focusing this Genji so hard
Mm-hmm.
is because at this point in the game, everyone's yelling, "This Genji is like killing us. We need help on the Genji."
Well, you
And
have a tough matchup. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. Like, this is a tough matchup for you, because Widow, just gonna puke on you at range, and Genji, if he can get in your face, control this high ground is a problem. But I'm not saying swap. All I'm saying by that is, yes, this Genji's giving you some trouble. I know there's the widow and that's annoying and she's going to be a problem, etc. But you need to be winning this brawl hard enough that your ball goes, oh yeah, you guys are fine, and he feels comfortable going around and dealing with the widow, because the widow's not actually helping them here, right?
right, of course.
So this, go ahead.
So your suggestion would be to win the fight on the, like stay on the staircase or maybe like duck to the like this area to the left, like
Mm-hmm.
at the base of the staircase, and
Mm,
just fight it out there
sorry, we're trying.
until
Yeah, I mean,
until we get a pick or something, and then we can start moving in.
yeah, it would sort of be like Gibraltar on Blue Box, where, Gibraltar, Blue Box, it's absolutely critical. You've got to get control of it, or
Yeah.
at least you used to have to, etc. This is similar. It's not quite as excessive because the flanks are a little better than they are on Gibraltar first, but this is very similar to that, where you go, okay, fine, I'll fight you from here, where the only way the Widow can contribute is if she grapples, to do a hook shot, etc. And then it's fine, I'll fight here, etc. And I don't have to actually win this. I just have to establish this well enough as, hey, we've got control of this, we could potentially push into this, etc., that my ball is willing to drive through it, or my ball is willing to go around, or my Reinhardt, maybe goes over here and threatens, etc. You just need to more effectively hold this fort down, if you sort of get what I'm saying. Like, if you're going, hey, we're good here, I am threatening this, I've broken the Winston bubbles, the Genji is no threat to me, your ball is going to either go do the correct thing, go after the Widow, or he's going to go continue to contribute to this, and then he'll just roll through and eventually find his way on the Widow. Does that sort of make sense?
That makes sense, but okay, wait. So follow-up question then.
Of course.
So in these So one thing that I find to have troubles is that I know that there's PowerPoints on the map, right? I know that, and there's some scenarios where, like, for example, like yeah, like Gibraltar Blue Box is a perfect example. Is like it's very easy, and if you're like Ash or like a Hanzo on Gibraltar Blue Box, you're you're a pig in the mud. You're super happy there because
Sure.
unless somebody punishes you, you have so much range to do a lot of damage, and you can impede a lot of the enemy's efforts, right?
Mm-hmm.
My question is in this scenario, right? Me as McCree,
Mm-hmm.
I can, even if I take this area, if my team doesn't see the value in it, and I'm just sitting here locking down this area, what value do I bring?
So a couple things. Your team is helping you fight for this area because you're fighting for it, right? Like, Ball and Reaper showed up here, whether they thought this area was important or not, they showed up because you were fighting, right?
Yeah.
If you win or get them to a place where, okay, well, fine, and the Genji and Winston are backed off, and the Winston doesn't have a bubble, and Genji doesn't have deflect, etc., etc., your ball isn't just going to sit here and be bored. He's going to go do something else. That might be he's going to push in, and he's okay to push in because, he won't have the head hitbox as he pushes in, etc. Or he might go, okay, we've done enough here, I'm bored, now I'm going to go somewhere else, my McCree isn't, feeding anymore. Not that you were actually feeding, but, he thought, oh, this is
I'm
what's
not in
going...
danger, right?
Exactly. So he's going to go do something else. So if you just go, I'm going to lock this down, and I'm going to continue to demand that the Genji and the Winston, I'm going to continue to demand that they put some level of pressure here, or we win here. Yeah, you're not going to peek here and go shoot at the Widow. She'll own you every time. But she has to be worried that you're going to, while your ball comes over here, and your ball is more scary for coming over here if her team is, emptier, more exhausted, lower on cooldowns. You've won this a little more. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Okay, all right, I get it now.
Yeah, no problem.
my tab.
And, unfortunately, that's just a case of, hey, you're not really going to be able to win head-on fights with the Widow there, and you're peeking a Widow that's looking at you. You had the right idea to then go elsewhere. You swung a little wide when you approached down the middle of the path there, which let her have the first shot, but that's fine.
Much better. Don't move.
Oh my goodness, that was a lot of time in the open with no cooldowns.
Much better.
So you go for that, and
Don't
then
move.
I'm good with the shot here. I'm a little surprised that you push out into the open here the way you do, though. Like, this to me is you don't have your rollback. You kill him just as good from here as you do from out here, only now you've opened sight lines on that Ana. You've opened sight lines further on the place the Widow used to be, whereas here you can, quickly unpeak, etc. Like, this to me was a little bit weird, and now you get your rollback in a second, but this is a lot of space that you're going, hey, I can walk across. Against a team that has a sniper, I can just walk across the open like this. That's not true.
Heroes never die.
There you go. There's your Widow counter. Valking Mercy.
It's high noon.
You've already won this fight enough to not need this.
Easy.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Okay, you'll flash out. Honestly, this whole push, like, it worked out, but this whole push was into something where you guys didn't really have a numbers advantage. Like, they'd all basically spawned and were here. This was a bit of a coin flip, but it's okay to take that coin flip because your spawn was right here. That was just a little. Okay. Is this where you want to be? Is it?
Well, yeah. Well,
Okay.
you'll see in a second. I realize very
Okay.
realize very quickly, like, this is not the spot.
Okay.
But
Go
also
ahead.
I killed the Widow, so it's like, threat wise, I'm
No,
like,
no, no.
and
This was killing the Widow from here was great. My point was more, hey, it's a 3v3, but you're up here with a Lucio and a Rhine. Those aren't really helping you if your Rhine is behind you and you're just having 3 people that are shooting at you effectively. But yes, I'm aware that you'd killed the Widow. You actually had enough time here that this potentially was a case of, hey, maybe I do take the long flank. It's not fantastic, and I don't regularly recommend long flanks for McCree, but if we play this out...
well, okay, so the idea behind the long flank is I do that, like, the Ana has no idea that I'm doing this, and then just flash around the Ana, get the kill, and then dodge backwards and wait.
Well,
I
it's flashbang,
that,
eliminate the Ana, pop high noon. And it's probably you're going to die as a result of it. And whether you're going to get high noon value or not is questionable, right? But you don't know that the Ana is going to be right there when you go for it. And if the Ana is not right there, if the Ana is tucked differently, you might just go for high noon instead. Like, we're speaking with knowledge that we don't have. So, like, the reason I'm suggesting this is they're not set, right? They're not set up because their Widow is in spawn. They're not ready to push out. And they're not really going to take this fight until your cart gets from here to, like, here-ish, right? That's pretty much how we all expect this to play out.
Yeah.
So this is a window where you potentially have time to go, hey, I'm going to go over here. And then once that fight starts, once their tanks actually push forward to contest cart, then I'm going to go, hey, let me crouch walk peek and, oh shoot, there's an Ana here. I have to kill her. But if there wasn't an Ana here, because Ana was playing here or something like this, you might just immediately high noon it. You follow what I'm saying?
Okay.
It's just because high noon is hard to get value out of, so you have to think, okay, how am I going to try to get value out of? Your other option is to use this dead time again to go, hey, let me go up here and see if I can, walk over here and use this to get high noon to force a little more space, or hop across here and high noon from here, etc. after hooks come out. Like, that's the other option, but you're not going to get a great high noon. The reality is you're probably just not going to get a good high noon from here unless it's after your team is, like, pushed into here, and then you charge your high noon and drop down behind and do that. So, like, it's if you're trying to get good noon value. It's just going to be hard to get noon value in general here. Your Ryan is giving away way too much shield, and it hurts.
It's
You don't like breaking Winston bubbles, do you?
I don't.
I've just noticed it a couple times, and most of the times it's been like, that's an optional bubble to break, but it costs you nothing and it might bug you later.
I think in my opinion, it's just because it's what, 900 health now. It just feels like it takes so long to break it on McCree. And maybe it's like
pretty sure
been
it's
a while.
700 health.
Oh, it's 700. Okay.
See, you can see it's 600 for him, and that can't
Yeah.
be. That's not 300 health. So yeah, it's 700 health.
Oh, okay.
So, like, I just look at this and go, hey, you shoot at him, that's fine. You shoot it again, you reload, you fan, and it's just like, oh, okay, that's kind of annoying, etc. Like, I look at that one, and even that right there would have been a fan, because either it's going to shoot him in the face, or it's going to break the bubble. Like that. Yeah. You're dead. Why are you not dead? Okay.
Like I said, a lot of this game is luck.
Yeah, that's fair. So again, that bubble, like, you effectively had to break that bubble. We're just going to talk about it because we're seeing bubbles. So that would have been a fan, and then we're going to get the next bubble where I'm going to go. I mean, so he's got two options, right? Either he's going to follow your team out of the bubble, which I just don't think he's going to follow your team out of the bubble, because there's a Mercy right here that he can turn and zap, and there's a Reinhardt right here. I don't think he's going to follow your Lucio out of the bubble. If he's not going to follow your Lucio out of the bubble, you're going to get to hurting him faster by fanning here rather than by shooting your bullets one at a time. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So this just becomes a case of huzzah, 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 and then you reload it too for some reason, which I'm not quite clear on that. That's again a reload where I go, hey, that's lost uptime, and McCree's pretty big on his uptime, even if they're on suboptimal targets.
Oh, let's break it down!
You're gonna make me track reloads, which is fine. I mean, that's fine. It's just something that I actually have to actively watch for. We talked about that one.
Oh, excuse me.
You cancel your reload with a flashbang there. to do a 2-bullet fan, which I understand the melee because that, and then you've got this reload, 2 shots. There's a hog right there. I know you're reloading before the hog shows up, but were you ever really not going to have a target for long enough for your reload to go off here? It's okay if you think you did. Maybe it's unfair of me to be using, hey, spectator view, we can see through the walls, etc. But it seemed to me pretty likely that you were going to either see this hog or this Anna who just escaped before you completed the reload, right?
Oh yeah, no. I agree here. I think
Okay.
the reason why I do so many reloads
Sure.
is I get super paranoid that
Mhm.
that during a critical moment when I need 6 shots,
Mhm.
I'm not gonna have it. And
Ye-
so whenever there's even a break, like so, like you'll notice the reload starts as soon as
Oh
the
yeah.
hog ducks into the wall,
Sure.
right? And I have four people up in front of me, so I'm not in danger. So I'm like, okay, well, I might as well just reload. Like to me, like in my head,
Mhm.
it's just like, well, it's dead time. Like I might as well reload. Like, but I guess,
Sure.
yeah, like in theory, I
S-
should be being more
So
consciously thinking about like, hey, like, because that is not something that I really consciously think about. Is
yep.
like reload time, reloading.
So it's not super punishing on McCree because his reload isn't that long, but it is time that you're losing and it's uptime. And remember, reloading is important enough on McCree that they gave you an ability dedicated to it. Now maybe they were just trying to give you a junk ability, but they gave you an ability dedicated to, most of its value, at least more than half of its value is, hey, you get 6 shots back faster than a reload. So it's the sort of thing where you're going, it is McCree's job to sort of be that not quite glass cannon anymore, but to be that somewhat immobile cannon, etc. And I think part of what's probably leading you to this, I want to make sure I always have 6 shots, I want to reload whenever there's any break, is because you also like to go forward, put yourself in those, hey, I'm going to push forward, I'm going to go do this thing. And that's fine. You push yourself forward, you get some good flashbangs, you interrupt, whole hogs, take a breathers, Genjis that are blading, etc. Yes, those are all great, etc. But how do I want to put this? Those are all good things to do. But remember, if you're playing with your tanks, if you're playing with your team, if you're not the first person breaking a flank like you were back at the beginning of second before your team has done things, you're going to feel like you're in those moments less where, oh shoot, I'm dead because I don't have my full set of tools available to me, meaning all of my shots and all of my cooldowns, etc. It is still a team game. It is still hey, if I can maximize my uptime, that has some real value. Like, this isn't a big deal, but this is a third of a second that we effectively lost here. And those are things that add up over time, where it's a third of a second when you could have had 2-3 more shots before the reload happened. And you can still close the angle when the reload happens. But right now, you're wanting to push the advantage. And this can later be the difference between are we able to extract them all from the point to close it out or not, etc. So not a big deal, but it is something that we want to pay some attention to on McCree.
Thanks. Put it on my tab.
You can't excuse this one. Right? Like, you see this here?
Yeah.
Like, I totally get it, but we see the habit is deeper than that, where you're going, I'm closing this angle because I'd sort of like to reload. Like, this is no longer about the hog's looking at me, I'm concerned, I'm missing health, anything like that. This is, I want to be back at full power, so I'm going to take my 3 shots rather, and then close the angle so I can reload, so I can be at full power again and go do this. And again, this isn't pick on Ken moment. This is just like, this is the sort of thing where this is costing you time. That one was actually more okay. The Anna had left her screen, and I don't think this hog was actually in that position. I'd have to double check, but you needed to roll there.
You bet head for the hills.
Okay.
Thank you kindly.
So we had 2.5 questionable reloads right at the end there, which didn't ultimately set anything back, but is something that we can look at and go, okay, if we found 2.5 there, what are we going to find if we really start paying attention to that throughout here?
Initiating match.
Thank you kindly.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
I'll be watching your back, but be careful out there.
That's fine. That was less fine. There's shots that you're going to be pumping into the barrier there. Again, that there wasn't a need to do. You see, you canceled yourself out of it. You were down to 1. You started to do your reload, then you canceled it into a roll. So you're catching yourself a little bit there, but there's very little reason not to have taken that last shot before the roll.
I need a doctor.
Again, that's you specifically going to the cover, and I like you having cover. I totally like you having that available, but you don't want to go, oh, I had cover for an instant, so this is an excuse to reload. Like, if you're actually going to maintain behind the cover, that's fine, but that's not something you're doing. You're doing there's no enemy on my screen for an instant because I'm looking at cover, so I'm going to reload here. Again. Now that you won't be able to unsee it now.
Yeah, I can see it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks. Put it on my tab.
Good fan control. He's a guy who gets away from a lot of people because he's so short with the fan, but hey.
And he can just, what is it, molten core.
What's that?
Yeah, plus he can molten core, so I just...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So this is kind of you being the spearhead of your team again, which I don't particularly like. If you're over here, that's a little bit better, but really, I would like your team to take more space, even in overtime. Just be careful, I guess, is the best I'm going to say here. Like, as much as it sucks, playing in your tank's pocket can be the right answer, often is the right answer as McCree if you've got a Reinhardt or an Orisa. If you don't, or if you just demand that, no, this is the spot on the map we have to take, which it is.
Actually, so I do recall this moment.
Mm-hmm.
What happened was, yeah, like in the moment, I did get lost. Like the fact that I'm out here was because, like, we just cleared the Torb out.
Yeah.
We just killed like 3 people. I'm like, cool, all right.
We should take space.
It takes space. Yeah, and then like I start walking up, and then the Orisa starts shooting me from the side. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna clear the Genji off the tank.
Sure.
And then the Orisa starts shooting from the side, and then you'll see me like start turning around and being like, oh no. Like,
okay.
I'm not, like, I can get punished here. And then I'm like, okay, like, at this point, like, my only option is like, okay, I guess I'm just gonna chill here. And just wait. Like, just play in this pocket area, away from the Orisa.
Yeah, that's fine. Just try to only let one of those angles be open at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then now I'm like, okay, I'm playing my tank spot.
Yep. And now it's good again because now you're doing hey, we're trying to form our concave, take multiple angles. You've just got 2 people that showed up here between the Orisa and the ball. Okay, good. Oh no, your ball. Sorry. Confusing colors. This is a case where once you go to the trouble of killing this,
the Torb
here, it probably is I don't want you spending a lot of time going on long flanks as McCree while the fight is going on, but even though you killed him sort of down here, okay, if you're going, hey, I need to go here to get a little bit of healing, I can understand that, but if you're not factoring in the healing, it's going to take me as long to contribute to the fight over here as it is over here, except this is more powerful, right? Like, you're gonna have to clear the Torb turret, but that's actually a good thing because that's gonna help your team out, etc. And it's not like Mercy's not gonna be able to, give you a little bit of healing once you take out that turret, etc. So if you're here, McCree, I've been saying, hey, play in your tank's pocket, that's good, etc. But the reason you do that is because McCree doesn't have good enough movement to get to better spots once the fight's broken out. If you're in situations where when the fight breaks out, you're in a better spot, or you're in situations where it's equidistant to play in your tank's pocket or to get the better spot, get the better spot.
Okay.
That Mercy just hates you.
Hitscan.
Like, she's got Valt going, and she's like, no, not even maybe.
Keep out of my way.
Let's get you back in the fight.
Easy. I need healing.
I'm taking care of you.
Feel like a man possessed.
You can chase him out because the high ground's a good place for you to be. Yeah. Okay. Not a big deal. You know, potentially if you hadn't been losing that Genji duel quite so hard, you guys would have been able to finish this, but not a big deal.
4 to 3. Switching sides.
Do you want to review the Genji duel? I mean, I don't think there's anything super wild here, but we can talk about.
because
Sure.
because I noticed I'm even when I try to flash above
Mhm.
the deflected box, it's almost always like I'm losing
Sure.
that matchup.
So
Like
let's
at
talk
the
about
mid
this
range,
then.
at the mid range, at the poke, in the poke, or when he's like doing the jumping over my head kind of thing,
Mhm.
I can beat Genji's like, maybe like six times out of 10.
Sure.
If
That's fine.
it's like equal rank. But once it's this,
Mhm.
I just spaghetti.
Yeah, that's fine. You flash the wall. If he'll fight you indoors like this, you flash the wall, not him.
Wait, that works?
Yeah. It's an explosion. You just need the explosion will still get him. You just go, hey, I'm going to flash the wall and it's still going to get you type thing. You don't flash this. This is scary. The explosion will go through his deflect. And his deflect hitbox has been shrunk at least once. So, like, yeah, you can absolutely go, hey, I'm going to flash over here. You can't see my drawings because I'm showing Overwatch, not my whole screen. So you go, hey, I'm going to flash here, which is outside of your deflect hitbox, but the flash, as soon as it hits something, as soon as it collides with something, it's going to explode, right? So if you try to like throw above his head, you're having to get it right so that your distance is right, that it explodes before it, and doesn't collide with his hit, but and the, bang the, so it explodes, but the grenade itself doesn't connect with his flash hitbox. If you have a wall or something to hit it on, you don't have to get the distance as right because it's going to explode as soon as it hits the wall, right?
Yeah.
So that makes it easier to go, I hit the wall. Of course you don't deflect it because I threw the grenade at the wall, and then the explosion tags you because I can get it pretty close to you because your deflect hitbox really isn't that big anymore. Does that help some?
Yeah, it never occurred to me to flash the wall. Kind of like landing on a native behind a Ryan shield, right?
Exactly.
Try to splash the wall. Okay.
Exactly. You just kind of like, well, it's not as generous as an Ananade, but it's not much
No.
less generous. Yeah, we can slow this down to super slow mode. Yeah, that's not aimed high enough. That's right in the, like, if you're trying to flash above him, so flashing the wall would have been better, but if you're trying to flash a Genji, you've got to either, flash the ground or flash above him. You can't, that was thrown right at his chest / head. Yeah.
Easy. All patched up. I need healing.
I'm taking care of you.
Feel like a man possessed.
Ready for battle. Ready.
Does Genji get a speed increase when he's blading?
I
I know that he's like him and Tracer, their natural movement speed is a little bit faster
Right.
than
Yeah.
rest of the cast, but I actually don't.
I don't think he does. I mean, he gets his, he has dash resets, of course, when he gets limbs, and he does a pretty
Right,
good
right.
job of getting limbs with that. And Lucios who know their job will press amp speed when he's doing it, but no, he doesn't actually get a movement speed increase, to my knowledge.
Oh, okay.
That'll get it done.
So remember, the proper positioning is right here on. No, I'm kidding.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Warm up here.
Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
So probably not worth. And what I mean by that is if your entire team, other than your Mercy, are like, hey, we're right here, we're not threatening, etc., you're not Ashe. You're not going to get like a, well, now Ashe can't even do it, but you're not going to get an instant pick off on someone, right? So they're going to round this corner, and there's going to be 6 of them looking at you, and 2 of you, because Mercy, effectively shooting at them. And it's just sort of
Yeah.
like, the eyeballs just aren't worth it. If you went, hey, I'm going to tuck back here and wait until they rotate up to here, and then I'm going to go, hey, I'm going to peek out and I'm going to shoot down into the side of you when my team is here or here, fine. But they're just going to ignore your team when your team is back here and you're the only one up here. So this becomes a, you either hide or you go, okay, well, fuck it. My team is set back, so I'll go set up here or here with the team, etc.
Enemies here.
Nice. We'll talk about it because I don't think you
Defend
like those very much.
I'm under attack.
You can't see, but are your next 3 shots going anywhere but into that Rhine shield?
No, I'm pretty sure it's just going into the
Rhine shield. Miss. Miss. Okay. So my point there is just, hey, he's at a reasonable distance for you to just fan those shots out, right? You just go, you know what? They're just going into the Rhine shield. Let me just fan them.
Okay.
Group up here.
Now you have real shots you can take. That's fine. And you expect to continue to have real shots you can take.
Allow me to repair the damage.
If you're fighting the ball, take the extra step this way so that you're fighting the ball, not fighting the ball and these guys. Right? Like you were fighting from here, and it's just one more step to be here where they can't see you as they're pushing up here, etc.
I think in that moment I wasn't particularly concerned about the ball. I was more concerned about the bastion repositioning to that location.
Sure.
So I want to be pre-watching it so that I can kind of poke them out if
Sure.
possible. It just so happened the ball was there. I think if the ball wasn't there, I think I still would have done the exact same thing.
Yeah, and that's fine. But I'm looking at this and going, hey, there's fire strikes that can come through here. There's Genji shurikens that can come through here. And you go, hey, I don't mind you checking. Like, I don't mind you checking this way at all. There was damage coming from this way. You checking is
A close
correct.
angle.
All
A
I'm
close
saying is, as you're dealing with threats to do this, you're drifting towards. Like, you're going, hey, let me drift towards the enemies. And I'm going, no, drift this way, is all I'm
Yeah.
saying.
This will restore you.
Good.
I admire your efficacy.
The reload, just pointing it out. It wasn't like a 2-second thing, or it wasn't like a only 2-minute thing. Like that's another one where it's like, what is this? You're in the middle. There's threats from multiple directions, and you're reloading.
Yeah, this is a moment where I could have still kept shooting, and
Yes.
it still all would have all my shots would have gotten value. If
Exactly.
Yeah.
You totally could have kept shooting at ball there. You didn't need to go for that reload yet. This one's fine because you're waiting on healing, and you're going to use it to relocate.
Heroes never die.
Okay.
objective lost.
I've got unfinished
Taking off.
business.
Ooh, Echo.
Rendezvous at my
Ich bin
position.
da.
That's
Yeah, I
not a
took
hit
your
scan.
advice.
That's a hard to drive projectile hero. Go ahead.
Yeah, I took your advice.
Yeah.
This is where I was like, what do I do? I'm like, well, Echo would probably be a good pick here. So.
Sure.
System
health compromised.
Oh no, you can't stay in. Ooh no. Oh no. Okay.
That's this part is just pure inexperience. I thought the damage from the
So-
stickies plus
Got it.
would,
Got it.
would kill the bastion. Like yeah, this part's just pure inexperience on the hero.
So this is really powerful, but it's only really powerful after the hero is under 50%, and you don't want to waste it on shield break. This finishing beam here, it gets ×2, ×4, something stupid in terms of a damage multiplier after the hero is below half. These stickies do a lot of damage to a hero. They do a lot of damage in general, but that's really impressive damage when you land most of them on a hero, where it's like, okay, that was nice when you land them on a shield, which is most of what I think we saw there. We can just take one more quick look.
Well, I think what you'll see is I was trying to shoot it over.
Got it. Yeah, but he steps back and blocks most of it.
Yeah.
And then you're finishing beaming, but like that's a shield, so you're not gonna get your boost against that. I mean, you're not gonna get him.
I'm not
through
gonna
that.
get I'm not gonna kill anybody out of that.
Burning them down.
The Bastion self heals. Too strong. Not bad for a hero you're inexperienced on, though. But your team can't really dive with you, so you're kind of diving a Bastion bunker alone.
Moving up.
Yeah.
Group up with me.
Here comes Team Racer.
Learn from your mistakes.
Good, and you'll immediately have this. Clone Reinhardt. Clone Reinhardt.
Adaptive circuits
That
engaged.
is not. Okay. Okay. Tank. Okay, why not?
Tank configuration activated.
Sure.
Personality, Echo online.
Oh, but you've got to do 2 more minutes of this. This is gonna be rough.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where I was like, oh, my Mercy is like nowhere near me.
Well, that's because you have a Pharah now. Your other guy swapped to Pharah, and I don't really like that configuration. Because you both are greedy and want the pocket.
Adjusting angle of attack.
Right, taking damage.
Good finishing beam. He can't deflect it. You're gonna go up and you're gonna throw stickies. I'm surprised that didn't burst him a little harder. Finishing. Yeah, a little slow on the conversion there, but that's fine. I know you're worried the Mercy is gonna heal him, but that finishing beam does come up pretty darn fast. Like there's not a long delay between when you cast it and when you get it.
Increased.
And this is where I'm just like, yeah, we lost this. Like,
I mean, there's more of you than them here.
yeah.
System health compromised. 30 seconds. Rendezvous at my
So you do want to generally be finishing your boosters on high ground when you can there, because it means your next boosters are going to be better. Okay.
I've got you. Move back.
executing flight maneuvers.
Generally, you open with your bombs right clicks here. Yeah, your bombs are pretty fast, but you want those to be your open because they are a little hard to aim, and you want to sort of have that chance to aim them before the enemy is paying attention to you.
This seems like it's working. Adaptive circuits engaged. Reinhardt.
Prove you have the bigger hammer. Okay.
Victory.
And they just don't touch point.
Yeah, that works. Okay,
Yeah.
so we saw some things here. I think the biggest takeaway that we're gonna have is for your McCree, you've got unfortunately that reload habit of, oh, I'm not looking at enemies for an instant. It must be a cue to reload, and you not looking at enemies doesn't mean there aren't enemies that are in line of sight of you, if you sort of know what I'm saying. Or the, okay, I'm over here and I break line of sight for an instant, and that's fine. If you want to keep the line of sight broken longer to do your reload, you potentially can. But most of the time you don't, and you're better off just going, yep, but this is only going to be for an instant, and now I'm going to continue firing my remaining 3 shots, etc. Like, McCree pumps out a lot of damage, but you're robbing 15% of that damage, 10% of that damage with those reloads that you're doing. And some of these things can be, hey, if you have this stuff here, just turn it into a fan in the bubble, turn it into a fan into the Reinhardt shield for those last 3 shots, and then do your reload, etc. So that's going to be a place where you can creak up your damage a little bit. And then the other thing I'm going to say is make sure you're not getting caught out here as the spearhead. Make sure you're not the one going, oh, I'm pushing. I'm leading the push into the place that matters if my team can't meaningfully be getting value while I'm leading the push over here. You aren't the tip of the spear as McCree. You are sometimes you can be the flank, sometimes you can hold a power position, you can take angles, etc. But mostly you're going, I'm the bastion. I'm the bastion that's sitting behind my Reinhardt that's swinging. I'm pushing up with him, etc. I'm with my Orisa in her little bunker. Or if those aren't options, I'm on the flank over here while my Hanzo is over up here, etc. And that's fine. And my ball is back over here, etc. But I'm not here while my ball and tracer are both back here, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So I think those are going to be the two sort of takeaways that we're going to have here. And I think the second one, the one about, hey, don't be the tip of the spear, is, kind of generally applicable to make sure you have a little better understanding of, okay, is this a time I can push on a DPS hero? That'll help on all of your DPS heroes a bit. The reload thing is going to be McCree specific and is probably going to be a hard habit to break. I'm not going to lie. Like, that is one that takes some mental work to do, to go, oh, hey, these reloads are here. That is something that is pretty ingrained into your autopilot, would be my guess. So you're really going to be having to do some, okay, am I doing a better job of this? Did I do a better job of this game? I just played 3 games, let me check one of them. I just played 2 games, let me check one of them, etc. To see if, even if it's top of mind, if you're really, stripping that out of your gameplay.
Okay.
Do you have any questions? Anything else you want to get into here?
No, I think it's good to have, like, I'm sure there's like a lot of things that you could point out, but
Hmm.
I do think it's beneficial for me to like work on one thing or a few things at a time. Um, so I'll try to be cognizant of that, of the reloading thing, because
Sure.
at least right now, for the current patch, like, McCree continues to be a relatively strong pick, so I don't
He
see a
is.
reason why not to play him.
Sure.
So especially since like recently, I'm not quite sure, probably because I've just been playing so much McCree, but my Ash has fallen off quite a bit.
Hmm.
So if I really want to win games, I'm just gonna go back to my comfort pick, right, which is McCree. So
That's
I'll
fair.
probably be I'll probably be practicing, trying to practice that the reloading habit
Okay.
out.
I
Uh,
think I think that makes sense. Like, I think McCree is definitely not a throw pick. He's above the, he's a high watermark pick. He's not the strongest pick in the game, but he's a good one right now, especially on ladder. And yeah, I would say, hey, work on this, make this a thing that you're actively thinking about going into your games while you're playing your games. When you finish the game, you go, was I doing a good job of that, etc. Your general play may drop off a little bit because you're thinking about, your reloading, and that's taking up 10-15% of your consciousness. But once you fix that habit, you're going to be putting out 5% more damage. So, 10% more damage. So your play is going to drop off a little bit, but as we stack these micro habits, that's how you climb up to higher than you were before, if that makes sense.
mhm.
And yeah, there's other things we could talk about. Like, we didn't get too much into your high noons, even though we, other than the, hey, Genji's donating a blade to you type stuff, those weren't super valuable. And we didn't go super into the snowball because the snowball defense because honestly that didn't have a ton to do with you other than starting it there. Like there's stuff we could have talked about during it, but none of those were going to be like, oh yeah, this would have broken the snowball, if you sort of get what I'm saying. Other than some really high risk plays, but anyway.
Or like standing in spawn and just spamming like group up, probably.
Yeah, but that's not what you want to hear. But
Yeah.
yes.
I mean,
Like
it's reasonable things though. Like those are things that like because realistically, like I'm playing. I want to get better at ranked,
Mhm,
right?
sure.
And ranked is its own game. a lot
It
of
is.
times.
It is. And
So
so yes, it is correct that we could go, hey, when you're getting snowballed on defense like that, you you can spam the group up thing, you can get on comms and say, hey guys, we're getting snowballed, we just got to stop, let them have space, we're going to take the next fight as 6, we're going to take the next fight as 6, they're going to ult us to death, and then we're going to take the following fight as 6 and we're going to win. It's got to
yeah,
be like that. And yeah, that is how you stop a snowball, that is how you do things, etc. But that's less DPS, less McCree, etc. specific.
yeah.
Okay. Any other questions then?
No, I think that was a lot. I mean, I this was a game where I thought, with the exception of like the first 30 to 40 seconds, I thought at least to the limit of how well I play
Sure.
was probably one of my better games, but it was
Mhm.
definitely was one of those the reason why I selected was given that it was one of the games where I thought I had still played decently well or pretty well given my level.
Mhm.
Um the reason that we won was almost a fluke. Like it was they didn't touch point. If they touch point, they probably had a good chance of closing it out. And they also threw a lot of those fights by like continuing to run the bastion, like trying to walk it all the way to point. There's a multitude of things they could have done to like have won
Sure.
easy.
And that's
But
true, but that's happening on both sides, right? Like you're
yeah,
already on Echo and your teammate goes and picks Pharah. Well, Mercy's not going to pocket both of you. You know what I'm saying? Like that
yeah,
so like it is sort of the ladder experience is such that both teams are making hundreds of mistakes. You made 20 less and 5 of those mattered. Like that's sort of the ranked experience, unfortunately or fortunately. It means the feedback mechanism for ranked isn't that great for when you are improving on stuff. But, yes, sometimes it's going to feel a little random. Sometimes it's going to feel like, oh my God, this team is just crushing us. And then it turns out they're not crushing you. You're fine. I don't actually think that they win that fight if they if they had touched, by the way. If you look at what their comp looked like. Oh, too far. If you just look at, now we're 20 seconds before, and if you look at what their comp looks like, what they have, they've got a blade. They don't have anything else particularly close other than Shatter, and they're still running the Bastion into your Pharmacy Echo. Like that Bastion is just not able to play the game, right? Because he's
yeah.
not set up anymore. So I don't know that I think they win if they gut to and touch the point, but that's okay. Um,
I
anyway,
think I was yeah, I think I was just really scared of the Genji. Like at this point in the game, yeah, like after the offense, like we were just
sure.
yeah.
But reminder on that Genji fight. So if you want to flash him above the head, that's fine. If you've got something to cheat with, like a wall, absolutely do it. Don't flash him in the chest, though.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. There we go. I'm gonna shut this off.